there is a town where the border runs through the library. Children check out books in one country and read them in another. A painted line crosses streets, gardens, and even kitchen floors. On one side, the clocks once ran an hour apart. On the other, the laws still do today. How does a single town belong to two nations at once? The answer is not a war story. It is a geographical puzzle stitched by centuries. The town is called Baarle, tucked into flat European farmland. And its map looks like spilled confetti. Baarle sits on the border between Belgium and the Netherlands. But the border does not behave like a line. Instead, it scatters. Tiny patches of Belgium sit inside the Netherlands. Some Dutch patches sit inside those Belgian patches. The map looks like a shattered mirror. Geographers call these enclaves and counter-enclaves. Baarle has more of them than anywhere on Earth. There are over 30 separate pieces in total. Some are houses, some are just garden corners. A white cross painted on the pavement marks each border. You can step across it in one stride. Cafés have the line running through the dining room. Tables in Belgium, kitchens in the Netherlands. The strangeness is woven into daily life here. Locals barely notice it anymore. But for visitors, the town feels impossible, a country folded inside another country. Streets carry two name signs in two languages. The same street, two identities. The town center feels ordinary at first glance. Brick houses, narrow lanes, quiet shops. Then you spot the crosses underfoot, white paint cutting through doorways and curbs. Letters B and NL mark each side. Belgium and Netherlands, 2 steps apart. To understand why, we must travel back almost 1,000 years. The story begins in the Middle Ages. Back then, Europe was not countries. It was a patchwork of dukes, lords, and abbeys. Land was traded like furniture. A duke could swap a field for a horse. In 1118, 2 noble houses divided land here. The Duke of Brabant kept some plots. The Lord of Breda kept others. They did not draw a clean line. Instead, they split the parcels field by field. Each farm went to whichever lord it had served. The result was chaos on a map, but for centuries nobody minded. Peasants paid taxes to their lord. The exact location did not matter much. Borders were about loyalty, not lines. A field belonged to whoever you owed. Then modern nations arrived, and the chaos became permanent. In 1830, Belgium broke away from the Netherlands. A new international border had to be drawn. Negotiators tried to clean up the medieval mess. They failed completely. Every village along the border agreed on most fields, but Baarle could not agree on any. So they kept the old medieval plots. Belgium got its pieces. The Netherlands got the rest. The line was never officially finished. Talks dragged on for decades. Surveyors returned again and again. Each time, the puzzle defeated them. A treaty finally fixed it in 1995. By then, the strangeness had become tradition. Today, Baarle has 2 mayors, 2 town councils, 2 postal codes. 2 police forces patrol the same streets. They wave at each other across the painted line. There are 2 sets of laws inside one cafe. Smoking rules can change between tables. For years, shops on the Belgian side closed later, so Dutch customers simply walked across the room. Fireworks were legal on one side, illegal on the other. New Year became a careful dance. During the pandemic, the painted line became a wall. One side locked down, the other did not. A clothing store had its entrance in Belgium. Its changing rooms were in the Netherlands. Customers entered when Belgium opened. They tried clothes on when the Netherlands allowed. Houses are stranger still. The front door decides the country. If your door sits in Belgium, you pay Belgian taxes, even if your bedroom is Dutch. Some families move their front doors. A new doorstep meant a new nationality. Tax rates, school systems, and pensions all hinged on a doorway. Geography became a personal choice. The line cuts through bakeries, banks, and a public square. House numbers carry little flags. A Belgian flag, a number. A Dutch flag, a number. Sometimes both on one wall. Trash collection runs on different days. Belgian trucks pass Dutch bins without stopping. Electricity once came from 2 grids. Water came from 2 pipes underground. Yet the town works. People shop, marry, and live across the line without thinking. Mail arrives through two postal systems. The right stamp depends on the door. Wrong stamp, and your letter might wait days. Locals learn this quickly. Even emergency services coordinate carefully. An ambulance must know which side called. Fire trucks from both nations cross freely. Cooperation agreements smooth every emergency. Doctors share patients across the border, a clinic on one side, a pharmacy on the other. School children may attend either nation's classrooms, parents weigh curriculum, fees, and walking distance. Would you ever live in a place where your kitchen and bedroom are in different countries? Tell me below. It sounds chaotic, but Baarle is calm. Quieter, in fact, than most border towns. That calms the real lesson. Borders only matter when people make them matter. Both Belgium and the Netherlands are in the European Union. Goods, people, and money cross freely. The Schengen Agreement removed border checks long ago. No passports, no guards, no fences. So the painted line is mostly a curiosity, a photo opportunity for tourists. But it was not always this peaceful. During World War I, the Netherlands stayed neutral. Belgium was invaded by Germany. Suddenly, the medieval mess saved lives. Belgian radios were banned by the occupiers, but Belgian enclaves inside neutral Netherlands were not. Resistance fighters used the enclaves to broadcast. The painted line became a shield. A telegraph office stood in a Belgian patch. It kept sending messages out of occupied land. After 4 long years, that signal pierced silence. A tiny enclave became a giant whisper. Historians still marvel at this accident of geography. Medieval kings unknowingly built a wartime lifeline. In World War II, both countries fell to invasion, but the tangled border still mattered. Refugees and escape routes wove through Baarle. The confused border confused the enemy too. After 1945, Europe began to heal. Slowly, borders softened across the continent. Coal and steel deals became the seed of the European Union. Trade replaced trenches. Baarle quietly became a symbol of how old wounds can scar into something gentler. The town now hosts geography tours. People come to photograph their feet in 2 countries. Children learn the border by hopping across it. It is a playground, not a frontier. Schools teach the history every year. Students grow up fluent in the strangeness. But Baarle is not the only place like this. Around the world, other enclaves exist. Spain has Livia, a Spanish town surrounded by France. A medieval treaty forgot to include it. Switzerland has Busingen, a German town inside Swiss territory. Residents use Swiss money and German law. India and Bangladesh once had nearly 200 enclaves. People lived stranded inside the wrong country. Some villagers needed visas to visit their own farms. In 2015, the 2 nations finally swapped them. Oman has a small piece tucked inside the United Arab Emirates, a leftover of tribal borders. Each of these places carries its own quiet history. Old maps refusing to die. Some were swept away by wars, others by treaties signed in modern offices. Baarle survived because Europe softened. Other enclaves vanished when borders hardened. This is the deeper why. Geography is rarely about nature alone. It is about old promises, old maps, and old kings, lines drawn before nations existed. Modern countries inherited those lines. Sometimes they erased them, sometimes they could not. Baarle could not be cleanly divided. The medieval plots were too tangled. So Belgium and the Netherlands chose a different path. They agreed to share the mess. That agreement is rare. Most border disputes end in walls, not painted crosses. The town teaches a quiet truth. Cooperation can outlast cartography. It also teaches that borders are human inventions. The land does not change at a painted line. The same soil grows the same crops. The same rain falls on both sides. Only paperwork and history separate one cafe table from another, yet that paperwork shapes lives. Tax bills, school choices, even election day, all decided by where your front door sits. For Baarle's residents, this is normal. They grew up with 2 flags on one street. For visitors, it feels like a magic trick. A country can hide inside another country. But the magic is just memory, medieval lords whispering through modern maps. If those lords had drawn straighter lines, Baarle would not exist. It survives because they did not. And because true modern nations chose patience over pride, they let history stay messy. Most of the world is not like this. Most borders are sharp, guarded, and tense. Baarle is a small experiment in another way of living, a reminder that lines are choices. Look at any modern border on a map. Behind it lies a story of old decisions. Some were made by kings, some by generals, some by accountants splitting fields. We inherit all of them, and we decide whether to fight or share. The geography of Baarle is flat and unremarkable. Gentle farmland, low skies, slow rivers. Nothing about the land demanded a strange border. The strangeness came entirely from people. That is why this town matters far beyond its size. It is geography written by humans. Walk its streets and you walk through centuries. Every painted cross is a footnote. Every doorway is a small treaty. Every garden hedge is a forgotten deal. Every shopkeeper knows which side their cash register stands on, because tax law depends on it. The bakery may bake on Belgian flour, but sell its bread in Dutch euros. The same currency now, thankfully, in both countries. One less thing to negotiate. Before the euro, prices changed mid-shop. A loaf cost one thing here, another there. Tourists were baffled. Locals just shrugged and kept walking. The town's two churches stand close together. One Belgian, one Dutch, both serving the same families. Marriages cross the border casually. Brides and grooms switch countries with a kiss. Babies born in home take their nationality from the front door, a geography lottery from birth. Grandparents tell children stories of older days, when the border meant rationing and smuggled coffee. Those days are gone, but the memory lingers. The painted line still hums with history. It is small, ordinary, and quietly extraordinary, a reminder that history hides in pavement. The town now welcomes thousands of curious visitors. Some come for an afternoon, some for years. They leave changed by what they have seen. Borders feel different after Baarle. You begin to notice the painted lines everywhere, in your own country, in your own city. Baarle chose to share. The painted crosses on its streets are not scars. They are stitches, holding two countries gently together. If you enjoyed this journey, drop a comment with the strangest border you have ever crossed. And subscribe with the bell on for more on how the world really works. Because sometimes the most surprising places are not the biggest. They are the smallest lines we forgot to erase.